Jacob tripped Isaac. Where Jacob tripped Isaac. Hope you enjoy.
Who did Isaac want to give his blessing to? Esau. Who did Rebecca want the blessing to go to? Jacob. What was Esau told to do? Hunt and bring stew. What was Jacob told to do? Put on sheepskin and his brother's clothes. Who did Jacob trick? Isaac.
It's now time for our story. Our story this week continues the story of Genesis. So we'll be looking at Genesis 28, 10 to 17. Jacob's dream. I shall read it in the International Children's Bible for you. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. He came to a place and spent the night there because the sun had set. He found a stone there and laid his head on it to go to sleep. Jacob dreamed that there was a ladder resting on the earth and reaching up into heaven. And he saw angels of God going up and down this ladder. And then Jacob saw the Lord standing above the ladder. The Lord said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your grandfather, and I am the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are now sleeping. Your descendants will be as many as the dust of the earth. They will spread west and east, north and south. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. I am with you, and I will protect you everywhere you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Then Jacob woke from his sleep. He said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, but I did not know it." Jacob was afraid. He said, "This place frightens me. It is surely the house of God and the gate of heaven." That is our story this week. Throughout Genesis, we have had many promises made, particularly promises to one family, Abraham's family. To Abraham and Sarah, there was the promise of the baby, of the son. There was a promise of land, of being a nation, and people being blessed, who blesses them, people being cursed, who curses them. We saw last week that promise was handed down from Isaac to Jacob of land and being a nation, being blessed, those who bless them being blessed, and those who curse them being cursed. And this week we see even more the promise of the land. This land that Jacob was sleeping on was promised to him and his descendants. It was promised that his descendants will fill the earth, just like the promises to Abraham of his descendants being like the stars and the sand on the earth. But I wonder, how much dust is there on the earth? There is tons of dust, millions, trillions of dust on the earth. I don't know the exact number, but it's many, many pieces of dust. And I think it would take more than a lifetime to count how much dust there is on this earth. Last week, through the promise, we were challenged to be patient, to let God fulfill promises in His own time and His own way. This week, much the same. God is promising, this land will come to your family one day, and I will be with your family until I have fulfilled these promises. Like I said last week, these promises of this land don't come for at least another 500 years. At least, probably more. So again, we are challenged to be patient, to let God do His promises in His own time and His own way. But Jacob's response is one of awe and wonder at how big, how great, how amazing, how awesome, how strong, how powerful God is. Because he says, how awesome is God? In some translations, it's similar to that. It's similar to that saying, how awesome is God? But in some translations, it talks about how Jacob was in fear of God. He had a reverent fear of God. Contact me if you don't know what reverent fear means, and I'll try and answer the question. But we are to be the same. We are to be the same. We are supposed to be in awe and wonder of how great, how powerful, how strong, how awesome, how amazing God is. As a children's worker, I interact with children all the time in church. And I am amazed at how they manage to keep this factor of awesomeness of God. The factor of being thankful towards God, grateful towards God. And it always challenges me to think about the things I take granted for. For example, one child the other week prayed and said, "Thank you, God, for my life." I don't think I prayed that prayer for at least 20 years. Maybe a little less, 15, 20 years. But it's a reminder that even for those small things like our life, creation around us, the grass, the animals, our friends, our family, we are to be thankful to God for giving us them. And that helps us keep humble towards God and have that wonder of who God is. I also get children asking me random questions about things that I wouldn't think about, of side, you can get questions like that. That some adults just try and say, well, we'll never know, so there's no point in asking the question. But kids are in awe and wanting to know those kind of things. So we as adults, parents, I'm talking to you now, need to recapture that wonder of God and the wonder of the stories in the Bible. That's our explanation this week.
I wonder what you liked about the story. I wonder what you disliked about the story. I wonder how you would feel seeing angels. I wonder what your favourite dream has been.
So our prayer activity this week is going to help us keep that wonder of God by thinking about how we can thank God during our chat time for anything, everything and anything. Nothing is off the table. Think about what God has given you today. Think about what God has given you for your life. It could be your family, your friends, your favourite thing that He created, whether that's an animal, a tree, a plant, the grass, the sea, the beaches, whatever it is. Think about what you are thankful for and chat to God about that. Our time of catching is going to continue the theme of promises, because I really want us to think about what promises God has made us. So our time of catching is going to be letting God talk to us about what promises He has made for us. Thank you very much for joining me for Family Bible Time this week. The challenge this week is to be in wonder and awe of who God is. Thank you very much for joining this week. See you next week. Bye-bye.